What if the loneliest part of your life is not proof that God set you apart, but the place where your fear quietly learned religious language? Being alone does not prove holiness. The fruit does. Preparation usually makes you cleaner, steadier, more obedient, more capable of love. Avoidance does the opposite. It makes you harder, more suspicious, less correctable, and quietly proud. Jesus withdrew to pray, but he never withdrew to hate people. His solitude clarified his mission, while fear builds locked rooms and calls them peace. Slow down here, because this is where many people misread the whole season. There is a closed room with two labels on the same door. One side reads preparation. The other side reads protection. But the hinge is fruit. If the door opens toward prayer, humility, obedience, and a softer heart, that room may be holy. If it locks you inside suspicion, superiority, and refusal to be corrected, that room is not a sanctuary. It is a hiding place. Proverbs 18:1 says, "The one who isolates himself seeks his own desire and breaks out against sound judgment." This is not about having fewer plans on a Friday night. It is about what happens inside you when every honest voice is removed. Even the US Surgeon General has named social disconnection and self-isolation as a serious modern condition. In plain words, loneliness is not only empty space around you, it can become pressure inside you. So yes, your aloneness may carry meaning, but it may also be revealing what pain has quietly started to produce. Jesus gives us the clean model, because his solitude was never a performance of rejection. Mark says he rose very early in the morning while it was still dark and went out to a desolate place to pray. That detail matters. He did not disappear after failing, after being exposed, or after growing bitter toward people. He withdrew before the noise could take possession of his obedience. Here is the cleanest difference. A quiet well is not a locked vault. A vault stores what it refuses to release. A well receives depth and secret, so clean water can be drawn back up for the work ahead. Jesus' solitude was that kind of well. Prayer went down. Mission came back up. Then Simon and the others searched for him. The pressure found him. The demand found him. And Jesus did not say, "I am done with people." He said they would go to the nearby towns, because he had come to preach there also. In Luke, when reports about him spread and crowds gathered to hear and be healed, he withdrew to desolate places and prayed. This is the difference between turning off your phone to hear God and turning off your heart so nobody can reach you. One is alignment. The other is armor. Modern friendship patterns can make disconnection feel normal because it is easy to live busy, reachable, and still emotionally absent. But normal does not always mean healthy. If your solitude makes you more prayerful, more obedient, and less controlled by approval, that is not people-pleasing. And if it sends you back with clearer love, that is not people-hating either. But if your silence is slowly teaching you contempt, if your distance feels pure only because nobody is allowed to question you, then the well has quietly become a vault. And what is locked inside may not be peace. What if your isolation feels holy, not because God has sealed it, but because fear has learned how to sound spiritual? So we stop guessing, and we look at the evidence. The case file is open on the table. 5 exhibits are sitting there. Cave dust, a desert road, a prison garment, a shepherd's sandal, and the key to a locked door. Not theories, not moods, coordinates. First, the cave dust. In 1 Kings 19, Elijah is under a broom tree, exhausted enough to collapse. He is fed with bread and water. Then he travels 40 days to Horeb, reaches the mountain, and hides in a cave. But the cave does not get the final word. The question does. God asks him why he is there, and Elijah receives assignments involving Hazael, Jehu, and Elisha. So even a cave near the mountain of God can become a hiding place when God is asking why you are still there. A sacred location does not automatically mean sacred obedience. The test is not whether the place feels deep. The test is whether it returns you to what God is asking you to carry. That is heavy. Second, the desert road. In Galatians 1:15-18, Paul goes to Arabia, returns to Damascus, and waits 3 years before going to Jerusalem. That separation was real. It was not instant applause, instant access, or instant platform. And in Acts 9:26-30, when others fear him, Barnabas steps in and brings him into accountable witness. So, a real calling can survive being tested by trusted people. If your isolation makes every correction feel like persecution, that is not strength. That may be injury wearing a Bible verse like armor. Third, the prison garment. In Genesis 39, Joseph is in prison and is given responsibility there. In Genesis 41, he is brought from prison into Pharaoh's court. The garment changes, the room changes, and the responsibility grows. Then, in Genesis 45, when the moment of power finally arrives, Joseph weeps and preserves life instead of rehearsing revenge. So, prepared isolation does not freeze your heart. It gives your pain a redemptive interpretation. Joseph did not come out numb. He came out able to feed the very story that once wounded him. Stay with this. Fourth, the shepherd's sandal. In Exodus 3, Moses is at Horeb tending Jethro's flock when he meets the burning bush. His sandals come off. Then comes the assignment to Egypt. The wilderness was never treated as his permanent address. It became the place where his obedience was named. For context, the wilderness was not the final address. It was the sending room. If your hidden season carries no willingness to be sent, you may not be resting. You may be refusing. Fifth, the locked door key. In John 20, the doors are locked because of fear. Christ enters that room. He shows his wounds. He speaks peace. He breathes. He sends. For context, Christ can enter the room you locked, but he will not leave fear in charge of it. Peace is not permission to disappear. Peace is the power to be sent without letting fear govern you. So, the pattern tightens. Cave dust leads to assignment. Desert road leads to witness. Prison garment leads to mercy. Shepherd's sandal leads to mission. Locked door key leads to peace and sending. Biblical isolation is not proven by distance. It is proven by fruit. So ask yourself, what if the space you call wisdom is quietly becoming a place where no one is allowed to correct you? This is where the test becomes personal. Set the spiritual fruit scale before your own heart. On one side, prayer, correction, mercy, and mission. On the other, suspicion, contempt, excuses, and locked silence. Do not measure the season by how quiet it feels. Measure it by what it is making in you. Hebrews 10:24-25 gives a boundary for gathered encouragement. Protecting your peace becomes dangerous the moment peace means nobody is allowed to tell you the truth. The believer is not called to drift away from the kind of encouragement that stirs obedience, love, and endurance. Proverbs 18.1 gives a boundary for sound judgment. Here too, peace turns dangerous when it means nobody is allowed to challenge you. A person can separate himself not because God is preparing him, but because his own will has grown tired of being corrected. That is a quiet danger, and it grows louder when the pattern hardens into relational withdrawal. The issue is not that you needed space after pain. The issue is whether pain now decides who is permitted near your soul. So ask it plainly. Does this isolation make you more prayerful or more paranoid? Does it make you more obedient or more offended? Does it make you more humble or more superior? Does it make you more capable of forgiveness or more addicted to replaying the injury? Does it make you more ready to be sent or more committed to being unreachable? Let the scale stay honest. Prayer, correction, mercy, and mission on one side. Suspicion, contempt, excuses, and locked silence on the other. The problem is not that you are hurt. The real question is whether that hurt is now guarding the door. So here is the final distinction. God may separate you from noise, from the pull of approval, from unsafe attachments, and from compulsive access. He may close the outer door for a season, but the first door he opens is the inward one, into the hidden heart. where fear has been quietly living under spiritual language. He does not shape bitterness and then call it holiness. Preparation makes you cleaner, steadier, more obedient, and safer to love. Avoidance only makes you harder, less teachable, more defended. A healed person can still hold boundaries, but a hiding person needs everyone to stay far enough away that no one can ever reach the wound. So take the inventory quietly. Prayer, obedience, humility, forgiveness, and willingness to be sent. Do not use it to perform. Use it for private honesty before God. Holy isolation does not make you vanish. It makes you trustworthy, with love, with truth, and with the assignment ahead.